Jesus' fourth statement from the cross is perhaps his most well known. It's actually recorded in two different Gospels. We find it in Matthew's account, in Matthew chapter 27, verse 46, but we also find Mark recording the same thing in his account of Jesus' crucifixion. And at this point, Jesus cries out on the cross, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Now, there's a couple of things that I want to point out here. Number one, he says, my God. He doesn't say, oh God. He could have. He could have put distance between himself and God in this moment. And the question itself would invite that, right? Why have you forsaken me? But he doesn't. He doesn't say, oh God, why have you forsaken me? He says, my God. There is still that connection between Jesus and God, the Father, in this moment. In the middle of the crucifixion, in the middle of this questioning, in the middle of feeling forsaken, there is still that my God moment. He is still my God. The second thing I think is interesting is that he uses the title God. Normally, not all the time, but normally, Jesus refers to God as Father, which is a term of intimacy and connection. But here he doesn't. He uses a title that is more reminiscent of submission. As he has talked about before, he's talked about in the days leading up to this, shall I not drink from the cup that the Father has given me? In the Garden of Gethsemane, he prays, there's any other way, let this cup pass from me. But if not my will, but yours be done. So he has in this statement both the connection with God and the submission to God. And then he asks this question, why? Why have you forsaken me? He questions what's going on. Now, this is not like he is thinking about undoing all this. He's not regretting things. He's still submitted to God. He is still engaged with God. But in that, he still expresses this question of why. And I think this is really important for us because there are times that we want to ask in the middle of our fear, in the middle of our doubt, in the middle of our confusion, in the middle of our frustration, we want to ask God, why? And God is not afraid of those questions. He doesn't shy away from them. And just because we have those questions doesn't mean that we've turned our back on God or we've turned our back on his plan. God is okay with us asking why. But here's the other thing I want to point out. Looking at these words is great. But there's another aspect to this, and that is that this is a quote from Psalm 22. And in Psalm 22, it begins this way, my God, why have you forsaken me? And it goes on reading like it could have been written from Christ, from the position of Christ on the cross. But it ends in hope. And I think this is great because his disciples, the people there who would have heard this, and us, down generations later, we see this, my God, why have you forsaken me? And in the middle of everything that means and all that expresses about what Jesus is feeling in this moment, there is also that echo of hope, that echo back to Psalm 22, that echo of hope for the future. In the middle of the worst circumstances we may ever face, there is still this echo of hope as long as it is our God we are connected to.